Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. And I did get around to doing the liquid edging, but so far it hasn't done its thing, but I'm hoping it's in the process of it. And this is some of the red salvia that I definitely would recommend. And I'm going to have to go around front to get some that's blooming. And it may need to be more in the sun also, because the one in the sun is blooming. This one is not yet, but it does bloom here. I've had it here for several years, and it does end up blooming. It's very pretty in the fall. It's one of the hummingbird favorites and one of the ones that they use to fill up on to make their trip when they're going to warmer places for the winter. And as I'm going to show you that red salvia, I wanted to show you some more yarrow. There's the yellow that I showed you earlier, and then this is the white yarrow. And there's more right over here. It's very pretty, especially it just because it lights it up. It's just like having a light on when you have a white bloom in the garden. So this is the red salvia that is blooming in the front, and it is beautiful. The hummingbirds absolutely love it. You know, they love it when they can put their beak right down into the flower, and this they can do, and they must love the way it tastes to them, because they're always coming over here to try it out when they have their breakfast and supper. So and probably any other time of the day. But yes, definitely think about this plant if you have a place for it. It doesn't get much taller than what this is right here, which is about 3, maybe with the bloom maybe 4 foot. And it's just a beautiful, easy plant that will keep on going for you. It's a little bit harder to clip down in the spring, simply because by the end of the season it turns into a woody plant. But to me that has been better, because I've had some of the softer plants, and they either are something that just puts down seed everywhere, and you can't get them out of where you don't want them, and they're just not something I would want. They become so invasive that I just can't take care of them. But these do not. They spread out a little, but not so much that they're a problem. They're just beautiful. As soon as they start to bloom, they're blooming beautifully until the hummingbirds go to a warmer climate, and then sometime you will have to clip the bloom when it just gets all brown and no more bloom to it. Just clip that off and it'll come right back again. I've had a hard time to get hydrangeas started, and hydrangeas are supposedly so easy, and I see other people have them in my area, so I don't know what my problem is to get one going, but I've yet to get one going very well, except for this one. This is an oak leaf hydrangea, and it has been a little beauty for me. I just love it, and it's growing up now. It's just now beginning to really grow up, and maybe it did put on some good bloom last year, but they got brown before they actually got their pretty color on them. But I'm still hoping for this and believing it can be. This could be one I would definitely recommend, and other people have better luck with them than I do. So this little hydrangea, it's a smaller one. That there are much bigger ones. I usually try to get the smaller of whatever I can find, because I want more, so that therefore, you know, I don't have room to put much more in my garden. And this is actually a little Josie reblooming lilac, which does kind of scatter around and grow a lot more than I particularly want it to, but it's a beauty and it smells wonderful in the spring. But I was going back over here because you can see there's more of the red salvia over there too. And this is a hydrangea too. It's called a lace cap hydrangea, and I love it. It reminds me of Lacey, because You know, it's strong and beautiful and it works for you, but it looks like lace. What a little beauty. And while I'm here by this peony, don't forget a peony. I know they are just a little green bush most all of the time, except one time in the spring for about 2 weeks maybe. You have the biggest blooms that you'll find in the garden, and anybody's garden will be on a peony, and they are just amazing. So beautiful. You just have to stand in awe at their beauty. But then they'll just be a little green bush all the rest of the year like this one. But I kind of think that's pretty too, especially when I can see how it's going to look in my mind's eye, how it's going to look in the spring. Get a peony. There's so many. You just have to look them up and see how many beautiful colors and which one you like the best and pick that one out just to give them a try. And they'll last a long, long time. And I missed this a while ago when I was over here because this is called, and I don't particularly care for the name because it is called a white chocolate snake root plant. But don't you just love that chocolate and hunter green color together? And in the fall they put up those little umbels of pretty white, little white flowers. Also, I was going to tell you that the other day I was looking at this and I thought, oh my goodness, there's some dead stuff in there. I started pulling it out and I realized it's more than just some dead stuff. It's a little bird's nest. So I've kind of left it alone. I've never seen a bird there. She may have decided to abandon it because of too much traffic coming through here. This is by our front door. If you have room for a little tree, this is a crepe myrtle. This is called peppermint lace, and it will turn green. It's kind of beginning its way to green now, but it will have beautiful red and white blooms on it whenever it does bloom around the 4th of July. And you know that there's the myrtle is one of the signs in the Bible of God's blessing. Instead of the thorn tree shall come up the myrtle. But even though the garden just totally wears you out, and it has really worn me out along with some other things, and then, you know, I'm still a little concerned about having my eye surgery, but I think it's probably the best thing to do, and so I'll go ahead and have that done. But yes, I am a little concerned about it. But it's just so wonderful when you're in the garden and you can see all this beauty. And I don't know, it just makes you feel good. It's like when I look like I look right now, dirty clothes, sweat. You know, I don't feel very pretty, but my surroundings feel real pretty. And then when I'm all dressed up, I feel like a whole different person. Sometimes. Most of the times it's just different, you know. When you're dressed up, you just feel a little more special than when you're just all grungy and dirty. But it's so good to be in the garden and feel that beauty and know that God started all this. I can't help but think He enjoys our enjoyment in the garden. And this is an Asiatic lily. And I would say get some Asiatic lilies, Jed. If you have room, they grow pretty tall. They're called tree lilies. So they'll get taller than this one too, as you can see over here. This one hasn't bloomed yet, but it's a beauty when it does. It's yellow with a bright maroon like red in the center of it. Very pretty. And they're easy to take care of too. They will probably need staking or tied up so they don't fall down onto the ground. This little lily bloomed. I have to show you this every year. It's always such a surprise to me when it blooms. It's so big and pretty. And again, white, looking like it's a bright light over here. And here are some more of the coneflowers. I've been wanting to move this one around. I just haven't had time, and it may be a little late for doing that now, but next spring I might see if I can move it around and have it in more places than just this one. And I would recommend a mum. Mums are just, you know, old-fashioned all the time, every day, nothing new, and yet every fall they bring that fall color, that glorious fall color to the garden. They're still my go-to fall plant. Just find a color you love or one that really fits in well with your other plants, and just let it grow into a beautiful little mound. Some of them you'll have to be careful. Some of them want to turn into a ground cover. May have to put it in a pot. But sometimes they just grow a pretty little mound like this one. And most everyone thinks of their grandmother, seems like, when they see hollyhocks. But they're a fun little thing for me. And actually I think of my grandmother when I see hollyhocks. And then right down here I have another Russian sage, and this one is in a pot, and it is getting more sun, so you can see it's lit up with more pretty blue flowers. And what I need to be doing is putting some more of this weed control. We got this one strip done, and then I ended up quitting to do other things in the garden and outside of the garden. Things just seem to keep coming up, but you can tell that down here, right about there is where it quits, and this other part of it is just already looking and torn, and it has spots all over the garden there like that I need to try to get some of that cleaned up and redone, refreshed, where it will be better, where it'll actually do a job, and get that done before the real heat comes on. According to the weatherman that I watch, we might have another week, and then I think it's going to start getting hot, being in the 90s, and then probably on up, if I know Oklahoma very well. This little plant is lamb's ear. It's kind of a fun little plant too. It's all like felty, velvety feeling, and it's a fun little plant and not hard to take care of either once it gets going. I had a little bit of trouble getting mine started. I think it was getting too wet, although it does like to be kept moist, but does not like to be wet. So, and I still want to take these lilies, these daylilies that have naturalized into the old form of daylily, and they do take over way more than I want them to, and I'm going to take them out if I ever get around to it. Hopefully I'll get around to that. Hopefully my eye surgery, I had to get a battery change, but I was saying that hopefully my eye appointment will go well, and I'll just get to keep right on going where I left off. I'm hoping it will be that simple, and I've heard that sometimes it is, so I'm definitely hoping that will be the case. Look what I did. I finally got this little pot changed out. I had this one changed out from the old cocoa liners to just regular pots, and I'm so glad to get rid of having to put a new cocoa liner in all of these pots practically every year. So, and I also, where they had a little scraggly empty places, I clipped off some of the sedum and put it over in the empty places so it would grow full. And you can do that too if you have an empty spot in your sedum. Is so easily to clip off and restart, so easily restarted. And this is another spot. Well, let me see if I can get it focus. I don't know if it's out of focus, if my eyes are out of focus, but anyway, I did take some of this, if you remember, it was hanging down, and I clipped it off and put it in this one, which is more full now, and hopefully it will take off and really go now. And while I was over here, I should have mentioned that if you remember, this was just full of larkspur. They're all gone now. I will miss them, but I still have some in the front. I think I've got rid of all the ones in the back, other than there may very well be some that still already had dropped seed. And I may get a few next year, but probably not so many, and that's good. I need to get where it's not so hard for me and have so many things that need to be done. I just go from one job out here to the next, and I can't seem to find the time just to enjoy the garden other than when I'm doing this. But this is still a job, but it's the most fun part of the whole thing because I get to share it with you. Gardens are for sharing, and it's like I get to see it. Well, not exactly through your eyes, but how I think you're probably seeing it too. And knowing that I'm sharing it with somebody, it's not just that I'm the only one getting to see all these beautiful blooms. But I did clean not only this out, but I went down this side, and if you'll remember, these peonies still had the old blooms on them, but I went down all the way down it and clipped those off, and I think I have it pretty much cleaned out as far as that part goes. I still have a few roses that need clipped back, but they're going to have to wait a bit, I think. I don't believe I've shown you how much this lace vine has grown up, this little trellis. It's already getting right on up there and it's looking good. It may end up, and I already did buy some the stakes for it, but not the fencing. I didn't find the kind I really wanted. They had some that's a bright green, but I prefer that just regular gray that's a light gray, and it kind of lets you focus in more on the pretty vine itself and that color. So I'm going to try to still find that if it's possible. And I don't really want my garden without zinnias in it because they are a nostalgia plant for me. Our dad bought us a packet of zinnias, and we got to pick ours and then see what color it was when it bloomed, and it was just a fun little experience for us. And because we were from a very poor family, and my dad didn't get anything more than was on his grocery list, and his grocery list was always meager, just the things we absolutely needed. And he came home with a packet of seed, and he said, I got this because I have all these girls, and girls need flowers, don't they? And I know I've told that story before, but I just love to tell it and relive it. And I also did get my, I didn't take everything out of this pot, but I did put the catmint in the center, and the ones around it I'm pretty sure are all annuals, and I can pull them out at any time if I decide I don't need them in there. And then I also put this one up on a plant stool and put catmint in it. And two, I would recommend a clematis. Get you a pretty trellis and plant a clematis on it. It may take it 3 years to get up that and open up those pretty blooms, but it will be well worth it. It takes your garden to new heights and new beauty. And I probably would recommend this little, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but some of them are green barberry, I believe, burgundy barberry bush, because it breaks up the sometimes monotony of green, even though there's many shades of green, and green's a lovely color. But sometimes I just like burgundy or some of the other colors in with the green to just really make it pop. And it's simple to, you plant it and pretty much forget it. Sometimes you might have to cut away a little bit of the stuff that just looks so unruly after spending the winter out in the open, but there won't be a whole lot of it to trim off, and then once you do, it'll just start coming back to life and looking beautiful again. This is another hibiscus. This is called Copper King hibiscus. It has a pretty white flower with a coppery center, and it has that copper color on its foliage. And you will inevitably find pretty little plants. This is columbine. I didn't know what columbine was a few years before I started my garden, or maybe I'd even got it started a little bit, and I said, what is columbine? And so, but this is columbine with the spurs and the beautiful two-tone. Sometimes they're single yellow or different color, but they're always beautiful. I'd like to have some more in my garden. I keep being so busy in the springtime, I really don't have time to get these started, some more different colors, but I want to do that someday. And you'll find things all the time. You'll find things, and you may be like me and just keep going and going and going and going and keeping on going. But there are certainly worse things that we could do. So I don't even feel like it's a waste, really, but sometimes I do have to chide myself a little bit for getting too many plants. But you know, Horse Creek Nursery put on their Facebook page, I could quit buying plants, but then I'm no quitter, so I kind of liked that. And I did purchase some 50% off plants today. This is a Amelia. It's in the honeysuckle family, but it is not invasive. And I think it's going to be a beautiful little addition to my garden. And I've always wanted to have a dwarf holly, but I should have looked at this a little closer, but it didn't have it on the tag. It just said the name of it. But I looked up dwarf holly, and dwarf hollies are from 4 to 6, one place said, and the other place said 6 to 8, and they both places said, and they could get a little taller and wider. So I have no idea where I'm going to put this. I think I'm going to put this out there under my evergreen trees in the back. And I purchased this hydrangea, which isn't looking all that great, but if you look close to the bottom, you can see that it's coming back from the root, as well as it has a few little scraggly ones up here at the top. So, and it was, they were still watering them, but other than that, I'm sure they didn't get much care. So I'm going to see if I can't get this one going in the garden, although I have the worst time getting hydrangeas going. But you know, I have that lace cap over there, and a little bit farther over I have that pretty oak leaf hydrangea, and these are both small, or this is a smaller form. They also have a bigger one. This is the I think this is the standard of the lace cap, and I love it, but I'm sure I would love these too. And the one I have tried 3 times is Incredible. Maybe it's just harder to get started, or maybe that's just my luck, but I'm going to try this one again, and if everything works out someday, I will try the Incredible again, just because who wouldn't love that name, or that hydrangea. Look at this little hibiscus. Now this one is an annual, so it won't come back, and that's the only reason I'm not recommending this to my sister, because she wants something that's a little easier and doesn't take a whole lot of care, and yet still is very beautiful. But the hardy ones are just as beautiful, and they die down to the ground, and then they come up from the root. They're slow to come up. Don't give up on them. There's a few plants that are, and this is one of them. But this is, of course, I said is the annual, and I take these in every year, and most usually I do bring out a dead stick, but sometimes, just sometimes, like this little pot, you see that's a hibiscus, and I don't know which color it is. I've forgotten which color, But when it blooms, we'll find out if it blooms for me this season. And I would have so many if I could keep them all, but I've killed so many and then bought another one because I just think they're so beautiful, and I do want them in my garden as long as I can do it, even though I'm trying to get away from doing all that. But I don't really have any desire at all to get away from seeing this in the gardening season. I would just want to see some beautiful hibiscus. And Jetty, you will enjoy the hardy one every bit as much. And I'm loving how this Mexican flame vine is coming right on up this little trellis. And while I'm right here close to it, I wanted to say that this tiny little bird is probably the favorite thing of mine that my brother painted. It's just so beautiful. He did such a wonderful job on that. This little double daylily is called Moses' Fire. Isn't it a beauty? This little hibiscus is a hardy hibiscus. It will die down to the ground and come back each year, and you will love it. It'll grow bigger and more beautiful and have even more blooms on it than it does now, and more beautiful flowers. You will need to have room for it to grow, because it will get about at least 3 by 3, if not 4 or 5 by 5, because it will spread out quite a bit and be very beautiful. I had thought about cutting all this little tall stuff off because it just looks so unruly, and then I thought, well, I think I'll wait and see what it looks like when it blooms. And oh my goodness, isn't it beautiful? Looks like some kind of a chandelier. But after it finishes its bloom and these turn brown, or even before that, as soon as it finishes its bloom, I'll probably cut those off and have a little bit more of a little mounded plant. And I used to have the most beautiful Henry clematis on this. It's the biggest one of all the clematises. It was so beautiful, but even perennials don't last forever, and it is gone. So many things can happen to them with drought, disease, insects, so many things, and I don't really know. Some of them just have a short lifespan. So, but they're always, that was so beautiful. I will get another one if I find one and can afford to do that. That will be a plan. And actually, my Bouncing Betty is looking good right now. So I hope my friend Kathy's is too, the one that came and visited the garden and also got a little start of this. I hope it's doing well. I bet it is, because I think they got even more rains than we did, and these have done maybe the best they've ever done for me. There is a cardinal pair that are the parents and the owners of this little nest. I came out here to have my husband take my picture to put on my latest post, and they were just hoovering around not far away. And this is an aster. Looks like it's got a little brown spot there. I'm going to pull that off. But this is an easy little plant too, and I like it in pots. But it will start blooming in late summer and bloom all through fall. And it's just an easy little plant. You just pretty much plant it and forget it. You might want to trim some of the old blooms off and see if it will bloom again. And this little pot is also the asters. Mine are purple, and actually I think I may have lost the one I had in the ground, which is usually the other way around. They usually don't come back in pots as readily as they do in the ground, but I think I might need to get a little start from one of these pots and start them back in the ground in the back where I once had them. Be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.